Greetings, this is Robert Forsch with the YouTube channel Truth, and I wanted to encourage everybody to get out and enjoy the beauty and majesty of creation. We've been lied to on epic proportions regarding the coronavirus, the moon landing, the nature of the world that we live in. This world experience, this life experience, is being manipulated by powerful computer programs and programmed individuals, not just the people at the highest levels that are manipulating everybody. It's those also that are being manipulated, the masses of humanity. And I wanted to expose that, let you know about that. You don't have to worry about, as far as I know, I'm not wearing a mask. I don't encourage anybody to wear a mask. We need the oxygen that is available in the atmosphere. We don't want to rebreathe our spent oxygen, our spent air, our respiration. So I've got two recordings going. One is a live broadcast on YouTube, and then I'm zoomed in on the moon quite a bit closer. You can see that later when I post it. We've got the beach sweeper here cleaning up. We've got some folks that are out walking on the beach right now. I wanted to show you that. And the tide is going out right now. The moon is at about a 27% at this time. So just so you're aware, the sun, moon, and stars move above the stationary and level Earth. That's a big deal. It's not the most important information. However, it is an indicator of whether or not somebody wants to know the truth. Because the truth about the nature of our world is very unpopular with so many. And for those that believe it doesn't matter, well, I would say you're wrong. The truth matters. The truth isn't afraid of investigation. It'll defend itself. So take it out, let it go, share it, share the truth with everybody that you can. I recently added some more content to my research library. So included in the research library, I'll share the lifestyles of the rich and famous as well. You can see their names, see where they go and what they do in some cases, as well as the people that are being oppressed, the tyranny that's intermingled with those lifestyles of the rich and famous. So I'm exposing that. I want people to make an educated choice on your eternity. Where will you spend it and why? So from a very young age, I wanted to know the truth about everything. Once I found out that the whole Santa Claus delivering presents or a lump of coal with flying reindeer, when I found out that was a lie, well, that lie was superseded by the moon landing hoax. It was the same year that happened, that I found out about that. Well, I didn't find out that it was a lie. I was presented the moon landing as a fact. Well, it's not. I don't care if you've got astronaut friends who are lying. When Elon Musk got like $1.2 billion to supply the International Space Station, hey, I could have cut him a deal. I could have done it with a pickup truck. Because they aren't having to fly in space to do it. Now, Elon with SpaceX is launching technology that is, I believe, hazardous to humanity. It's a large fireworks display, and yes, there are some components of 5G internet It's fifth generation. It's not just one speed. It's different frequencies, but it's fifth generation. It's in some of the modern lighting and smart devices. It's the Internet of Things. It's artificial intelligence to control humanity. When they talk about gun control, it's not controlling guns, it's controlling people. The tyrannical New World Order architects do not want people living in fortified structures with armaments. They want peasants that are cooperative and docile. So they'll poison the food, water, and air, and I'm exposing that. I thought you should know. Now, normally there would be a lot more people out on the beach, and hopefully that'll happen soon. Okay, so what I want to draw your attention to is the sun. In the sunrise right now, we can see the bright spot of light in the middle of the view. Okay, if the sun were as massive as they say, and 93 million miles away, that would all look really different. That's my point of that. So the sun is local and small, has a limited throw of light. If you're new to this, looking at it, that's fine. On my Facebook, I had to block some people that were being absolutely obnoxious. And they could have even been like a chat bot, some type of artificial intelligence just there to confuse the issue. So I don't tolerate it. I'll block bullies. And if a bully is like face to face with me, I won't tolerate that either. And that's something that you may need to consider. What might you need to do if there's some thugs that say you need to be vaccinated? I do not consent to testing or vaccinations. Won't do it. Okay, so I'm zooming in real tight on the sun right now. If you hashtag local sun on my channel, you'll see some spectacular sunrises, just like this one. It's burning through. It's coming towards us. You know, I'm not a cartographer. I don't have a map of the Earth. There's a whole bunch of different maps. Even the cartographers and map makers don't have it all right. However, Google has pretty accurate representations of our Earth. It's just not a globe. But as far as distances of continents away from one another, how could I know? What I do know is that the New World Order that is around us, it's the Mark of the Beast system that could go fully mandatory in the context of buying or selling. Nobody will be able to buy or sell without the Mark of the Beast or worshiping the image of the beast. I first found out about that in 1982. That's when I thought I was born again. Until I actually was in 2014. And that's one of the things that I bring to the discussion. I know there's a lot of different expressions of spirituality and a lot of different beliefs. Well, opinions, everybody's got them. However, an opinion is a polite way of saying what a person believes. There's the truth, and then there's everything else. So is everything you or I believe true? What I found out is there were some things that I believed to be true and they were not. Now I know better. It doesn't mean that I know it all. I just know enough to know that I'm not the guy that I was, now that I'm actually born of the Spirit. The Spirit of the Creator, the God that created this world. So there are laws of perspective, and that comes into play when we're looking at how the sun looks burning through the atmosphere, the moisture. So I'm actually very scientific. Got a question for you. Some people believe that if I don't go along with the moon landing that I'm unscientific. Well, I just wanted to know the truth. The moon landing is a hoax. One of the questions that I have for people that think themselves well informed and educated, do you know how much a gallon of water weighs? Well, it depends. It depends on the temperature. That temperature variant changes the volume and density of water. That's what drives the water cycle of the world. So the sun is much like the light from the sun is much like a laser beam shooting across the water here. And where the sun and the moon appear and vanish on the horizon and their duration of visibility between one another changes radically through the seasons and the phases of the moon. You can make it a thing if you want. You can look at it right in your own part of the world, wherever that is. I've got a lot of documented content on my channel showing that from this vantage point, and also what I share on playlists and other incorporated videos, like time-lapse video from apparently Antarctica. But keep in mind, just having a welcome center and a flagpole and a billboard doesn't mean that it's the geographic Antarctica. You know, we've been lied to on epic proportions. So I've actually met people that have said they've gone to Antarctica. I said, how was the view on the way there? Did you have windows that you could look out? No windows. Cargo plane. So that's one other whole issue. Another thing that I would encourage you to do is to explore my playlist. Unfortunately, because of what's going on right now, there has been a disruption in the supply chain. So there are farmers that are going out of business. They won't be able to supply markets, restaurants, schools with food because they'll be out of business. Some people will end up committing suicide, I'm sure. They'll be overwhelmed with the loss of their livelihood and more. So there's going to be a lot of very difficult times ahead of us. So I would encourage everybody to have on hand whatever you think you should need. If you want tuna and toilet paper and more, ways to protect your household. Take a look at your household. Is it, how vulnerable are you? Can you protect yourself? There are ways of doing that. I'm a pro-Second Amendment. So that's not inconsistent with my biblical perspective. If you were to call the police because you had a home invader, well, it'd be too late anyway. By the time they got there, it'd be all done. You would want them to have a gun, right? Well, you can have a gun too in this part of the world, in the United States, apparently. Now, there will be law enforcement, military, and possibly United Nations, supposedly peacekeeping forces that are going to be commanded, ordered to do illegal acts, to disarm, possibly, to arrest people for walking on the beach. I mean, this is ridiculous, what's going on. However, I believe it's becoming evident that even from the mouths of those that are the architects of this new world order, the spokespeople for the COVID response team, they're obviously liars. How far off they were on the projections for the deaths and all that, it's ridiculous. So like yesterday in my broadcast, I said something like there's fewer skydivers dying of, we have fewer deaths from skydiving and that because they're dying of COVID. Interestingly enough, the Dollar Vigilante showed some very humorous deaths. They were not real deaths, they were just make-believe. Good morning, Linda. What a beautiful day, huh? So what I would encourage you to do is to explore my playlist. That's one of the reasons why I do these broadcasts, is to encourage you to do that. The Truth Network is what I've called the network, that's the Truth Network, is basically a compilation of talented producers, brave individuals that have put their life on the line, and many have paid the ultimate price of exposing the reality of the world we live in. Many of them died. You can scroll through the playlist and see who's there. There's also beautiful, relaxing video from all over the world. Island destinations, the beautiful water and vacation locations and all that. So I'm going to just kind of pan this on around and show you. This is the Prince Resort at the Cherry Grove Fishing Pier right here. And we're looking at the Myrtle Beach skyline now. I'm going to walk us on over here a little bit, and I'll zoom in a little bit further down the way here, and you can see that. Last year we had approximately 20 million guests that visited here. We'll probably have fewer guests this year because of all the events that have occurred. However, I believe that we'll be able to respond resiliently, and I believe that it's going to be very important for us to not be pushed around by the tyranny. I do not consent. I do not consent to illegal laws. I would encourage everybody to seek the truth with all your heart. It's very interesting and disturbing to see. It almost, in some cases, looks really bizarre to see all the makeshift face masks that people are walking around with. Some of them are making fun of it. It's kind of funny, like coffee filters and bandanas, and it's bizarre. But what I would say is seek the truth on this matter and all matters. Where will you spend eternity and why? I do believe that God is sovereign, meaning that He's all-powerful and He's in charge, and He's all-knowing. So even though artificial intelligence is powerful, God is all-powerful and all-knowing. So by Jesus' own words, He says that He is the way, the truth, and the life. I've got the Gospel of John video on my channel in many different languages, and a multitude of playlists of beautiful videos for you to enjoy. I make my phone number readily available so that you have the opportunity to call me. If you want to add your phone number to the playlist, or to, I should say, to comments, feel free to do that. I would encourage everybody to write down important phone numbers, because all of the digital contact information could be deleted. Also, we could have supply disruptions in electricity. What I want you to consider is artificial intelligence has administrative level access to the entire internet, including the creation and distribution of electricity. We rely heavily on electricity. for climate control, medical purposes, refrigeration to keep food from spoiling, getting fuel out of the ground. All without electricity, we would be in a very difficult place. Keep in mind the infrastructure of the internet in that can sustain that. Google and all the different servers have multiple redundant power supplies. So that part of it will stay up. We may have limited access to it. Now, for those that are in favor of transhumanism and launching your consciousness to the cloud, what I would have you consider is there's a fire coming that God's Word talks about in the letters that Peter wrote. There's a fire that's so hot it will destroy even the elements. When you look at the physics and properties of water, one of them that I would want you to consider is with the use of electricity in the process of electrolysis, you can shatter the bond between oxygen and hydrogen. The ocean right there, in that context, is combustible. And God has plenty of energy to do that. So the cloud, it's going to be disintegrated. People that have their heads cryogenically frozen, that's all going to get burned up. The whole thing's going to get burned up. Now, if you're questioning this whole Earth thing, is the Earth, why do I say the sun, moon, and stars move above the stationary and level Earth? Well, that's what the Bible says. So, do you feel yourself spinning, wobbling, or gyrating? No, I'm rock solid. Don't see any movement there, do you? So early on in this whole discussion, one of the things that occurred to me is, yeah, the water would fly off a spinning ball. Yeah, it would fly out of toilets. People would be flinging off all over the place. See, apparently, according to the lies from NASA and the modern theoretical physicists that meander off into formulas and explanations that do not reflect reality, they're saying we're rotating in an easterly direction at approximately 1,038 miles an hour at the equator. Yeah, they're lying. Those bastards lied to us about that. When I say bastards, I mean it's a fallen angel, children of Satan. There's two families fighting in this world. God's family, Satan's family. And then there's fallen angels, God's children, the elect angels. It's a battle. And it takes on epic proportions. So, seeing is believing. What? What do we see and what do we believe about it? So I know I've been tricked. I know I've been lied to. And then there are actually spiritual entities that can inhabit people. Demons can possess people. And maybe more. I don't know. Animals, apparently. So what I would simply say is to seek the truth about your soul's eternal destination. Some people think it doesn't matter, that you just turn into worm food. Yeah, I'm not buying that. And what happened with me is once I was born again, I was given a passion, purpose, an eternal perspective, and the power to do what I previously couldn't do. Combine that with other changed lives that I see, that's pretty powerful evidence. And then archaeological evidence to prove the existence of Noah's Ark in the mountains of Ararat. It's on my channel, you can see it. Ron Wyatt discovered that. We've got pyramids under the ocean, shark teeth in the desert. We had a great flood. You can't flood a ball. So we've got mountains over 5.5 miles tall, and that's one of the indicators of well, the Earth isn't exactly flat because we've got texture. However, what's really important about this is the truth about it. Once I found out that the foundation of evolution was preceded and laid with the godless cosmic Big Bang, the heliocentric or sun-centered model. And if you want to look at all the supposed movement they say is going on, it's ridiculous. It's not just a rotation, it's orbits and all that. None of it can be felt. But they're lying about that. They're lying about, they wanted to hide God. You don't have to worry about falling off the edge. There's a structure, a firmament, that separates the waters from above from the waters below. Excuse me, one of the reasons why this, excuse me, one of the big reasons why this matters is because it's an indicator of whether or not somebody wants to know the truth, and are you or are they willing to be ridiculed for that, wanting to know the truth. Because Out of Shadows is a video recently done that when I first shared it, it had about 1 million views. Now it's got over 7,300,000 views a couple of days later. I'm not saying that it got all those views because I shared it. It happened concurrently. It's a brilliant movie, and it shows the relationship between artificial intelligence, the CIA, FBI, CIA, Central Intelligence Agency, and the involvement in the cinematography in Hollywood, and then the satanic Luciferian relationship with all that, casting a spell on humanity, deceiving humanity. It's important. I thought you should know. So the truth isn't based on popular opinion. It's not popular, and it's not an opinion. It's just the reality, the truth of the situation. So the question that I believe we should all be asking is everything we believe true? Is there an area that I'm deceived on? So please let me know if you find something you believe I'm speaking of inaccurately. You can send me a message, call me on the phone. I don't get into a public debate on a chat, on a thread. It's not practical. So 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 says, to everybody forever they refuse to love the truth and so be saved. For this reason God sends them a powerful delusion. So this is show and tell for adults. I'm showing and telling you the truth as best I've been able to find it out. Thank you so much for your public and private encouragement. This is Robert Forrest with the truth.